Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Spellbinders, and we are going to create 10 cards from their December 2019 card kit of the month. This is definitely one of their top items in the club value collection. So here's your package. This one is called, in the theme, Hey Foxy, which already piqued my interest. Of course, you always get your inspiration card that also tells you what the contents are in your kit and what you should be expecting. You're going to get your cardstock, which is white, a pink, a maroon, a black, a light blue, a darker pink, a brown, a gold, and a gray. You're going to receive your 10 cards and 10 envelopes. Your double-sided tape, and also your square of double-sided foam squares, a little pot of gold sequins, some gold letters and numbers, and they are up on foam, so they are very dimensional, a sticker pack that has about 5 pages, all with different stickers. Some are just with sentiments, some are with banners and blocks, some script fonts, and also this beautiful alphabet. And then some circles that are great to help embellish your cards. Your 6x6 paper pad, and of course this one is called Hey Foxy. There are some beautiful papers in here. We're going to page through them. Some of the pages do have some gold foiling on them to help them really stand out, while others are photos, certain images, and then of course those just have the pattern papers in the background, from florals to tone-on-tone pattern prints. That's what I was trying to say. As always, the awesome pack of die cuts. For those of you that have seen my videos before, you know I love digging into this. There are always some great die cuts. I am a fan of layering and just adding little bits to the front of the cards. Of course, your stamp set. There are some great sentiments in here that can be built upon, and then a couple images, from some greenery to a flower to that most adorable fox in the world. Your die, you have a sentiment, and then you also have the ability to build a fox, which is absolutely adorable, and we will do that. So let's get started with our first card. So I've cut my pattern paper. The largest rectangle is cut 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then I've cut a smaller panel using the pattern paper from the kit, which will sit on top of this panel that I'll be placing down onto my standard A2 size card base. Again, that comes from the kit. That means it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and this is a side folding card base, as is all of them. I'm going to take that piece of cardstock that I cut, put that down towards the right-hand corner. I'm going to use my vintage photo. Yes, you knew it was going to come in. Yes, just saying. And I went around my 3 butterfly images. The sentiment that I chose is simply you and me. I've used my liquid adhesive to put that down, and I'm also going to use this to secure my sequins as I throw it across the room. I do that more than I can even count. Almost every video, it is flying across, something's flying across the table. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to use my liquid adhesive to adhere a sequin, and I'm just going to cover up the hole where the sentiment is. And now I'm going to add some dimension to my butterfly by bending for the wings, and then using my liquid adhesive to set them in place. Now, what I also did was I dug into my stash, because whatever of these double-sided foam squares are left, I do keep them, because you can use the entire square. So if you see that I have more on my table, that's why. I did not use them all up from the previous kit, and I do not throw these away. Yes. So I've put some double-sided foam in behind the wings just so that it will keep its dimension. I'm going to add some behind this other butterfly so that that can have dimension as well. And then that'll sit just above the sentiment. That is our first card. For our next card, again, my large panels are always cut to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I do like a little bit of the white border coming through around the pattern paper. I've cut this other pattern paper with the plaid just to be slightly smaller, and I'm going to set that in the center. I'm going to set this down onto my standard A2 size card base, and then I will play with some of the die cuts to set on top of this panel. So I grabbed all the ones that are the houses. I thought they really matched well, of course, with the background pattern paper that I chose, which is all the houses. I'm going to fussy cut along some areas on each of these just to give them a different look. I'm playing with my placement because I don't want the same house sitting next to each other, so I'm just making sure how they can be set so that I have the different levels of the homes. I'm going to use my double-sided tape to adhere these down along with the double-sided foam to give some of these homes dimension. Just so you know, I did speed up my video if you haven't noticed, but that's because I'm actually going to keep everything in. I want you guys to see all of the steps it took me to get from point A to point B. So very little editing except to merge all of these together. And of course my voiceover has gone into this video. I'm going to use this beautiful alphabet sticker set. Just the font itself, very regal, and then having those gold images, those gold leaf images wrapping around them. They were just gorgeous. So I'm actually going to put the sentiment below home. Yeah, there's a theme going on with this card. Absolutely. And I'm using the pattern paper as my guide for my letter placement. Once I know they're good, I'll be able to push them down into place so that they are secured on the card. For the three top areas of these homes, I'm going to place a gold sequin. For our next card, I grabbed some of the die cuts again, along with 2 of the word die cuts from the set. I've cut this panel to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, as always, and this is going to be a landscape card. I'm going to use my vintage photo to go around the sentiments, just to give them that vintage feel. The pattern paper isn't as bright. It's not as vibrant, but I loved the details into it. So because they were muted colors, I didn't want the sentiments to be very bright and bold on top of that. The 2 words that I've chosen are happy moments, and I've grabbed some of the stamps and the circle embellishment from the die cuts, and we will just be setting those down onto the card using both my liquid adhesive and some foam squares. And then once that is set in place, we will be good to go. For our next card, I fell in love with the silhouette of the woman with the flowers in her hair. So again, I've cut my pattern paper to be 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to set that down onto my card base. And then along with her image, I grabbed many of the florals, the big, the large florals. I'm going to have her sit on this card base in the upper right-hand corner. And with those flowers that were in her hair, I thought it would be fitting, let's go with that, that she's coming out of a bed of flowers. There's also another image in the die cuts as well. I believe it's the back. You're looking at the back with this braid. It's absolutely gorgeous. But I figured I'd grab those same flowers and just put as if she's coming out of that. So we are going to do a lot of layering. Again, both with the liquid adhesive and our foam squares. Since you can use the entire block, I will be cutting that down into sections so that I can prop this image up. And now we're going to put some of the greens in there. Now you'll see me tear off the bottoms, throw them across the table, because that's what I do. But just to make them shorter, I still wanted to use the greens, but I didn't want them as long. I wanted to keep them close to the floral arrangement, but help to add some dimension. I only put glue down at the tips that are underneath the flowers where I'm putting them. This way it does add just a little bit of dimension without adding more of the foam squares. Now I'm just tearing off some of the smaller leaves just to fill in the areas where, in my eye, just doesn't look even. I don't know. This makes me think it goes even. You guys know me. And that is that card. For our next, I have the larger size panel cut, and I also cut a smaller panel from the pattern paper from the kit. I'm going to set that into the center of the background panel that I've cut down. I've then dug into the die cuts, and I chose the wreath that came out of that, and one of the sentiments in a speech bubble. Now I'm going to take the wreath and I'm going to prop that up using a lot of foam squares. I think I got a little carried away with this, but just to make sure that it's propped up, it's not going anywhere. So that's going to get secured down towards the top of this block, and then that speech bubble is going to come right out from the center of that wreath. I'm only going to put glue down in the area that's underneath and then off to the side. I'm going to grab some of those sequins so that I can place them around this card just to add a little bit of shine. The tool that I'm using to pick them up is called a wax pencil. They actually use it in nail art, and it works very well. For our next card, I chose that wood panel, and on the inspiration card that comes with your kit, there was someone that I think they created the fox and put the fox on top of it, and I just loved the paper. So, got very inspired by how they had set that up. So once I get this down onto my card base, it's going to be a landscape card. I have that coming off to the right-hand side. I didn't want that dead center. I'm going to add some foam squares to the sentiment that I chose, which is the banner from the die cuts. And I'm going to place that towards the top of the card. And again, the sentiment says, what dreams are made of. So we've got lots of flowers, lots of butterflies, and of course a few pieces of greenery to fill in. So again, using the liquid adhesive and the foam squares, we're going to add a lot of dimension to this. And we're going to set our pieces in place. And again, you might be seeing me tear some of the leaves so that I can get them to fit. I will also be doing the same, what I did with the prior card with the butterflies, of putting some foam squares underneath the wings, just so that they can hold the dimension in case this card should be mailed. Card should be mailed. Wouldn't that be great if you could mail a card? Oh, that'd be fun. Yeah, sometimes I amaze myself. I'm going with everything that I've placed so far. I do trim off the edge And again, that just gives the card a different look when you do that. When you have your items going off the edge of the card, it kind of makes, for me, it makes the card come to life. It gives it another level of dimension. So again, we are setting in place our butterflies, and then I did grab a couple of the hearts because they were a dark charcoal onto the card as well. For our next card, I had to grab that cute little bear stretching with the flowers in his hand. I think that's awesome. I'm going to take my pattern paper, set that down onto my card base, and we are going to start building. Again, one of the things that I absolutely love about this card kit is the layers that you can get, whether it's the pattern paper or the images themselves from the die cuts. Don't get me wrong, I like all the other pieces too, but I do love the die cuts. All of my pieces, as you can see, are getting hit with the vintage photo, as always. Other pieces did, I just didn't say anything. And again, the vintage photo for me just helps to define each of the items that are being layered. It gives them definition. I'm going to set the bear down onto the darker pattern paper panel. And then my sentiment is simply going to be dream. I've chosen the two tickets. One says happy place and it says your story for the other. And again, that truly is, when it comes to your story, it can be your happy place and it can make you dream. So it's all good things. And that's what I was looking at with this card. You know, the bear reaching for dreams and happy place. For some reason, it just went all together for me. I love those small blue flowers, and for the centers, I'm going to use a sequin to set in the center of them if I can grab that one. Again, using my wax pencil to pick up those sequins and setting those in place. And of course, because it was an even number of sequins, I needed to add one more. Yeah. All right, we're coming down to the wire here. So for our next card, again, pattern paper going onto a card base. And then I cut a piece of cardstock from the solid, the brown, and I'm just going to set that into place using the double-sided tape. So this is going to be like, instead of using the pattern paper, just by using the solid and going around with the vintage photo, it's another way to place your items. I do like to just have a piece of cardstock or pattern paper for them to build off of. It's almost like it makes it their place. When it comes to the settings, a lot of people ask, you know, how do you know what layers with what? How do you know what to choose? You know, that's a difficult question. And a difficult answer. Well, it's not a difficult question. It's a difficult question to answer. Let's say it that way. You know, I just let my eyes choose. Now, for this one, it was definitely colors that pulled me in. And you don't realize it, or at least I don't, until I do these voiceovers. It's when I see all of it come together that I could say, okay, this is what attracted me to this. This is what pulled me into that. So that's why you'll hear some different explanations like this one when it comes to the cards, because I'm actually seeing where I was going with that, as strange as it sounds. Now, usually, and also most of the time, I'm cracking up hysterically because a lot of the times I'm asking myself, what possessed me to go that way? But not in this case. So because of the colors, I've got a lot of roses and pinks. You're all like, what is she yammering about? I yammered on that one. I've got pinks, I've got browns, I've got beiges. So very neutral for that one. For this one, we're actually going to play with the stamp set. I wanted to pull out, and I'm using my archival ink in potting soil. And then I'm just going to go curve around the outside with my black. And I'm going to stamp that down. Now, I did not stamp this perfectly because I am horrible at stamping. I am stamping challenged. I'm just going to say that. But that's okay. I'm still going to come in with the potting soil because I'm going to stamp the flowers. I'm doing no masking. If they overlap a little bit, they overlap. I'm then going to come in with some leaves, and I'm just going to make sure that they come off out of the corners. And then I'm going to add another version of some greenery to come out of this as well. But again, using the archival ink. So off camera, I did use my colored pencils. I am going to attempt to get this centered and stamped right in there. I held my breath and yeah, I actually did it. Look at that. Woohoo. I was pretty impressed with myself. Yes. So the stamp was interesting. It's got a lot of texture going through that stamp to get that image. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm going to be using my Arteza colored pencils. Now, again, I did color this outside, and I just added shading when it came to the stamp. So I added more colors. I used another brown to go over what I had already stamped. And just, again, watching the video, I didn't realize that the colors that I chose for my flowers are very close to the pattern paper. Again, it's the things you notice after the fact. Only me. So we're going to add some more foam squares because, of course, I ran out because I just love them. I'm going to place this right on top, and I did use another piece of pattern paper to frame the image that I just colored and stamped. All of this is going to be set onto my standard A2 size card base. And we're going to add some sequins to go around in the inside of the flowers and then coming off of the design. Now we're going to build our fox. This is just a wonderful die set. So everything is grouped nicely together on the dies as well, so you're not wasting too much of your cardstock. But what was great was when it comes to dies like this, I dig right into my box of scraps. Although I've got them organized now. From big, or from large, medium, to small, to why am I keeping this? I'm just saying. I did throw away my 1" by 1" pieces. I know. But I'll never use those. So I did clean that up, but this was great to use the scraps that I already had. I did use the brown from the card kit. And I actually, when it came to the face, I actually used the gray. I didn't want that to be bright white. I'm now attempting to pick up the little cheeks. That obviously I'm having a problem. As you can see how I fight with that, and then you just pick it up and you flip it yourself. Yeah. But I was determined. Going to add the face. Just put a little bit of glue on the bottom and let that sit right there. Just going to clean up using my tweezers for any glue that came out from underneath. So next I'm going to set my ears, and then I will go into the paws. So I do like, I was saying before, I do like the way they group the dies together because you can just use a scrap piece for all of those. You know, like the ears and the paws, they're all together. Which is really great. You know, you're not trying to come in on, you know, through another color. Also, part of the dies are these leaves. And I was inspired from the card that's on the inspiration card, where they used one of these as a band across the fox's head. And I just thought that was so cute. I'm going to use my makeup brushes, and I'm just going to put, I'm using my Gina K Jelly Bean Green towards the bottom, and I'm using I believe, I forget, the pink. Passionate pink? No. Innocent pink. That's it. Innocent pink. For the top. I just wanted a little bit of color to sit behind my little foxy person there. Foxy person, yeah. And I'm going to set that in place. And I'm not going to add a sentiment to the front. I think she should just be there on her own and is absolutely adorable. I'm pulling in my black glaze pen to fill in the eye openings because, yes, you guessed it, I lost those 2 black dots. And why? Because I forgot about them. Yes, I am honest. I hope you enjoyed the 10 cards that I made using the Spellbinders card kit of the month for December 2019. And remember, the theme for this month is called Hey Foxy. So I do hope that I've given you some ideas for when you receive your kit. If you need to have this kit and subscribe, know the links will be down in the video description, along with links to their shop, their blog, the gallery of inspiration, along with other videos as well. So make sure you check them out. There is so much there that Spellbinders offers. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those down below as well, and I will make sure I get to you as soon as I can. I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending this little bit of time with me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'd love to have you here as part of my group. Make sure you ring the bell, hit the thumbs up. When you ring the bell, you'll know when the next video is live and ready for you to watch. I hope everyone is having a great day. Enjoy, but always remember what's most important to me each and every day. Always be creative.